Folks, our AMSOIL Fishing Report now is going to head out to Brookings, South Dakota, and we're going to chat with Mike Tejan, who is the host of the famous Wild Dakota Outdoor TV show. Mike Tejan, so nice to visit you in early January or down in South Dakota, or should I say over in South Dakota?
It works either way, John. Happy New Year, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, we had a great time there in mid-January when we were there. We caught perch, we caught crappies, we caught walleyes. Really good time, and it speaks to the versatility of that area around Brookings, South Dakota. Any updates for us? How are the perch doing?
Well, John, you know what? After our show, and by the way, great compliments on a great show, John.
Thank you.
It was a big thrill for me to be a part of it, and I hope we can do it again.
We will.
But I do have some reports for some perch, and it's areas that we didn't go. We focused basically on two lakes while we were there, John. Um, there's a couple of little lakes. One is called Fox Lake.
Okay.
And it's a great lake. It's up in Dual County, which is about 25 miles north of me. And it's a great lake to take kids. The perch are really, really biting. It's relatively shallow. We're coming to the tail end of these shallow lake bites, John.
Okay.
Late January, early February. But a lot of sorting and a lot of yellow perch are biting there. Also, Lake Whitewood. We had talked about going there. That's been a pretty consistent, again, it's a shallow lake. And that's been a good bite. Now, the sleeper that we've been talking about is called Dry Lake number 2.
Dry Lake.
And Dry Lake number 2 is about a 60-mile drive from Brookings. Not bad.
Right.
But boy, the perch are worth it. I've got a good buddy. His name is Josh. He had those 13 to 15s laying on the ice and was taking pictures for me here a couple of days ago.
Wow.
And good bite. And it's on the west end of the lake where he's getting those. So
what do the perch fishing is so good out there, and we get into late January and into to the beginning of February. What depths do you look for generally?
Well, again, I had mentioned just now a couple of shallow lakes in that 5 to 7 feet range. They kind of turn off here when we hit into late January and February. What we want to start looking for, John, are the deeper bodies of water, like Lake Ponset, where we fished,
right?
Lake Sinai, Lake Thompson, these larger lakes. Another good bite: Wabae Lake, Bitter Lake, Big Stone Lake.
Sure.
These are all large bodies of water, and those fish are out on those mud flats, and that's when we start getting them on little red spikes and start fishing. Those fish are just roaming. Schools are roaming on those flats out there, John. So 14 to 16 feet is considered deep here. That's where you want to look.
One tip that I want to give the folks, because I'm a Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan type fisherman, you guys fish very small jigs there, usually with a waxworm or a spike, but you like the tungsten small jigs for the perch.
I really do. The reason we want to have a tungsten, John, is we're fishing a little deeper water. And again, in my book in South Dakota, 14 to 16 to 20 foot is considered deep. But that little tungsten jig gets under you. These fish are moving around. If you catch one, have a rod right next to you and drop it right back down, because at school, when they see one bite, feed, they'll come after, and you'll catch another one over and over. But John, when we filmed, you notice we kind of called them in with the bigger baits, and then they wouldn't touch it. And then you drop that little tungsten jig down with a spike or a waxworm and you'd catch a fish.
Right.
Now, that's pretty common this time of year. And I was really glad that we could show that to the folks too.
That is a great tip, and that can be used really anywhere, is take a bigger Castmaster or a medium-sized Castmaster, pound that bottom, stir up that mud a little bit, and then go down with the small jig. And those fish won't come up there. They're right on the bottom, aren't they?
Right on. And the thing is, fish by nature are curious.
Right.
Especially down in their world. So if you take this large Castmaster and you're pounding the bottom, you're going to get their attention. They may not bite that large Castmaster, but that's where that little tungsten jig tipped with a couple of spikes drop down. They'll end up eating that, John.
Great tip. And one last question. I want to talk a little bit about the walleyes out there, because I was really impressed with the numbers of fish that you can catch in a day. No size limit. and you can keep 4, but you can only keep 1 over 20. But you can catch these lakes produce numbers of these gorgeous 14 to 17-inch walleyes, don't they?
Yeah, and John, you know what? We were saying those are the ones we like to eat. I hope you
Right.
enjoyed your South Dakota
I
walleye
did.
trip.
But it's not uncommon to get on a lake there and on a good bite, and each guy catch 10, 15, 20 fish in a day.
Well, not at all. I mean, we all caught 10, 15,
Sure.
20. It's not uncommon. I've even seen lakes, if you spend the day out there, 50 walleyes. I mean, it's not uncommon. And that's where, selective harvest. We like letting those over 20s go.
Your favorite walleye lakes for this time of year are?
Yeah, favorite walleye lakes, you're going to hit the Lake Ponset where
Right.
we went. You're going to go to Lake Sinai. You're going to go a little further north as we have Wabae Lake and Bitter Lake. Very popular walleye destinations, John. Again, what you want to look for are the bigger, deeper lakes this time of year. They're going to hold your walleyes and perch late ice.
Well, hey, Mike, thank you so much, buddy, and we'll see you soon, all right?
Yeah, great seeing you, John.
Okay. Oh, wait, before you go, the crappies. I forgot about the crappies.
Oh, we don't want to forget our beloved crappies, do we?
What lakes?
So I've gotten some reports. There's some great crappie lakes in the area. Not red hot bites,
Right.
but if you get on the school, hey, it's pretty good. And the reports are Lake Mitchell, the crappie bite is fair to good.
Okay.
These crappies average about the 11 to 12-inch range, just good eaters, not
Sure.
giants. Lake Sinai, Lake Thompson, those crappies are very large. They're still getting them in bays. They're on a bug bite. And another good crappie lake that you can try actually is Enemy Swim is a great crappie lake as well. Big crappies in there.
All right. Hey, you gave us a lot of good info. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, I always appreciate being here, John. Take care.